Good evening, and welcome to the regular meeting of the Council of the City of Long Beach, held Tuesday, March 6, 2018 at 7 p.m. We'll have a roll call. Councilmember Bendo.
Present.
Councilmember Mandel.
Here.
Councilmember Moore.
Here.
Vice President Diamond.
Here.
President Ramo.
Here.
Let the record indicate the presence of Acting City Manager Michael Tagney and Corporation Counsel Robert Agostisi. We'll now have a salute to the flag.
Councilman Mandel, would you lead us?
Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, once again, thank you everyone for coming. And we'll get the meeting started with the city manager update.
Okay, in light of the storm we had over the weekend, we would like to reiterate that the City of Long Beach joins with hundreds of neighboring coastal communities in calling on state and federal agencies to take action and help protect us. The flooding we have been experiencing is a far-reaching regional and global issue, and the City Administration has repeatedly stepped up and stated that the routine flooding that has been common in our city for decades prior to Superstorm Sandy is unacceptable. Since Sandy, we have initiated large-scale resiliency and sustainability projects like the $177 million fully federally funded Army Corps of Engineers Beach Protection Project with the goal of reducing the city's vulnerability to storms and flooding. On our bayside, we have secured more than $32 million in state and federal funding for bulkheads. We have secured $8 million for stormwater improvements to help us combat the heavy rainfall. We've installed 33 Tide Flex valves. We have infused $4 million in rebuilding and improving our water system, $5.5 million in upgrading and repairing our sewer system, and nearly $1.4 million in upgrading our storm system. So all in all, we've been doing quite a bit. We do have remediation projects planned for the remaining intersections that we now identified as those that are prone to flooding. The City of Long Beach, in partnership with the Office of New York State Senator Todd Kaminsky, has been awarded $250,000 in grant funding through the New York State Community Capital Assistance Program. As part of this grant, 25 new pages were purchased for the Long Beach Fire Department. And as you can see, they work well because we cleared out the room pretty quickly. We also received a $2.5 million grant for our wastewater treatment plant, which we are hoping to complete that entire project, where we'll be sending our sewage to Bay Park, and then that'll go out to Cedar Creek and then out into the ocean. We had an illegal rental at 142 East Market. The person had 7 different families living in the one house, and the person was fined $7,500 for violating the city's zoning and building codes. We take them very seriously. We do have a police building department partnership where we do investigations and make arrests for this. So we're being very aggressive to make sure that the houses are used as they're zoned. The city is now accepting applications for the 2018 summer special programs. Applications may be obtained from the traffic division. We're also finishing up a food drive with the city clerk's office, and we've gotten many, many pounds of food. So this ends tomorrow, and if you haven't given, please do so. As an aside, you can buy a cookies from a Girl Scout downstairs and make them happy, and then put it right in the box for the needy. So it could work for everyone. And over the weekend, in just an 8-hour period, the Long Beach Police arrested 5 DWI subjects. Again, we are the most prolific of the smaller jobs in Nassau and Suffolk County. We're also being, the Long Beach Police Department is being awarded by MAD for our continued vigilance in eradicating drunk driving. That's it.
Okay. Thank you. With that, we'll go to the agenda.
Okay. Our first item is a public hearing for resolution granting waiver of off-street parking requirements for premise 919 West Beach Street for a bakery cafe restaurant.
Is the owner of the facility here? Hi, how are you? You were here already, right?
I was, yeah. We had to change the use due to a beer and wine license, so that's why I'm back.
Okay, solely a beer and wine license?
Yes.
And the deliveries?
Everything's the same. 1 to 2 times a week,
Okay.
probably 10 minutes. I wanted to change it so I could offer brunch items, and that was the only reason.
And the hours of operation are going to remain the same,
For the most part, yes.
which would be?
As of now, 7 to 7.
Okay. And the amount of employees, remind me?
Hopefully 5,
Hopefully 5.
all Long Beach residents.
All Long
hopefully.
Beach residents? Okay. Okay. Any other questions from the council? Anyone want to speak in favor or against the parking variance? Please come on up.
Hi, Allison.
Hi, please
Blanchett.
state your name.
Allison Blanchett.
Thank you.
Sorry, I just kind of ran in. I'm reading this now. Is this the one, the smoothie place or the bakery? The bakery. The bakery. So you're a bakery that's going to be serving alcohol?
Beer and wine for brunch items.
So it's a restaurant?
Not a restaurant, it's a cafe, bakery.
Okay. So more alcohol in the West End. I didn't realize that's what this was for. Okay, so I'm going to just kind of reiterate what I said last time. This intersection over by the old O'Rourke's is Virginia. Right, and that is an area that, as you know, Commissioner, is repeat crashes have happened there.
We had the commissioner look into that.
Oh, good.
Yes, and that's not factual.
You mean there's never been a fatality over there?
On Virginia, I don't recall a fatality. I did a 5-year study.
You looked back 5 years? Okay. I'm looking back 10 years.
Yes, I don't remember my career fatality at Virginia.
Okay.
But I did do a 5-year look at that intersection, and I believe there were only 2 accidents, and neither one was of a significant nature.
Okay, all crash, not accident, and they're all significant in nature. I'm using the fire department database, their crash log, their what's the word, dispatch log, when I'm looking at where crashes are happening. So they're reporting more than I guess the police are writing tickets or whatever. But going back to what I said previously is just be mindful when you're giving parking waivers to locations that are going to have a higher pedestrian flow and more people on bikes. You're going to be having delivery people. You say only 10 minutes. It only takes 10 seconds for someone to kill me with their vehicle. Now, with alcohol in the mix, I'm going to ask again, can you please put a no right on red at that location? Would you consider that now that we're going to have more people there?
Well, before we put up signs, we tried to invoke the science from the Manual of Uniform Traffic Control Devices, which is an accident analysis. The accident analysis doesn't warrant the no turn on red, but if the council is desirous of it, we can absolutely add that. It is a traffic calming device, and it's not a big issue.
It is a big issue, and you're using a very outdated source. So, I wish you'd put that manual away and start, referring to AASHTO or to NACTO preferably for things, because that's a very outdated. Why wait for people to be maimed or injured before putting a no right on red? Other residents have come up and asked for that, and it just should be. This is a high pedestrian area. You're now inviting more businesses in who are going to have more alcohol. We're going to have, a higher pedestrian flow. We're going to have more vehicles circling, look at, our residential streets. When we introduce businesses into these areas, you really need to consider that this could bring about an increase in crashes. And all I'm doing is just letting you guys, putting this on your radar, be mindful of that when you're giving, you're already giving away free storage space to private vehicles. So be mindful that you could be increasing a dangerous situation. Consider doing a no right on red. I mean, it should really be all of Beach Street, no right on red, where you have those. So that's it. That's my comment.
Thank you.
And I would like to speak to you further about Virginia, because I really do have different data. Okay.
President Aram, I just wanted to ask one other question.
Please.
This question is directed to the prospective owner. Could you just specify with respect to the brunch drink items? You did mention mimosas, but could you just kind of specify some of the other drink items that you'll offer?
Just mimosas and glasses of wine. I'm not looking to, open a bar or anything like that. It's just kind of complementing brunch items and that service period.
Okay, thank you. Thanks for the clarification.
How many people will be able to sit down in the cafe?
I have 12 seats inside.
12 seats. Okay.
And just one more, will you have servers or will it be counter service?
No, it's all counter service. There's 6 bar stools against the front and then 3 small tables of 2.
Okay. Anyone else from the public? No? Anyone else from the council? Wait. Yes? Come on up. Please state your name and address for the record.
I'm Bill Tanzi, and I'm the president of the West End Civic Association, West End Neighbor Civic Association. I have no problem with granting the parking variance. I would ask that you really look into putting up a no turn, no right on red there. This business and the one beside it are liable to attract a lot of children. And children, they just run out, they're going to have a cupcake or they're going to have a smoothie. I think it would just, let's err on the side of caution, put that there, definitely grant the variance, and have a good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Okay, seeing no one, I close the hearing.
On to the regular calendar. Item 1 is a resolution naming the city's recreation center.
Okay, this is a very exciting item for me personally. Compared to this person, I'm a rookie, only having 40 years of service with the city. But Bob Carroll was not only a lifelong Long Beach resident, but also a teacher before becoming the superintendent of recreation, and has changed the lives of many tens of thousands of children. And to that end, the council has granted a tremendous petition that was submitted in favor of this item to rename the recreation center the Robert L. Carroll Recreation Complex. So I'm very proud to be the guy that could propose this legislation, and I look forward to the council passing it.
Okay. Any questions? No? Bob, you want to stand up? Stand up. Would you like to say something? "32 years as the superintendent. Tonight at the Recreation Center, there was an awards dinner for our wrestling program. Councilwoman Anissa Moore and myself were there. In a rec wrestling program, there were 81 kids enrolled. Long Beach is recreation, and you're a big part of that, and this is going to be truly an honor for us, Bob. So I just wanted to know if you had anything to say that you would like to say.
Well, I started there 47 years ago, and I have to say that one of the first things that happened was that Tom Gallardo, who was a Nassau County executive, asked me one day, could you use $8.5 million? I looked at him like, we didn't know what $850 was.
Right.
Anyway, we got a grant of $8.5 million, and we did the entire facility over again. As you can see today, we have the swimming pool, we have the skating rink, we have the ball fields, but the biggest thing we did was the bulkhead, the cement bulkhead between National and Magnolia. And with that, at the end, there's a boat slip down there where we have a little bit of a marina. So we try to fit everything in accordance to the needs of the general public here in Long Beach. And with the $8.5 million, we used every cent of it. And it's still going today, and we're doing a great job. The staff is doing a great job. And we had a recreation commission at the time, and the Recreation Commission was very influential in programming, as you probably know. We started the music programs on the beach Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday nights. We started the arts and crafts festivals on the boardwalk and all the programs on the boardwalk. It never stopped. We were 24/7 throughout the entire year. So we really appreciate everything that the city administration has done over the years, budget-wise, and helping out the children and the adults and the entire population in the city of Long Beach.
And I want to thank Scott Mandel for all his help. I know he's a member of the Lions Club. Scott, thank you for all your help. Tagney, Assistant City Manager, since he was a puppy. We had him in the West End. I know when you grow up in the West End like we did, and I believe Councilman Bendo's a West Ender, and I lived in the West End, grew up there, and I've been in Long Beach for 86 years, believe it or not. So I certainly appreciate the council voting to name the Recreation Center the Bob Carroll Center. Thank you very much and appreciate your help.
Thank you. Thank you, Bob. Thank you, Mr. Carroll. We're really, really proud of our Recreation Center, and as I said, you're a big part of how it came to be such a significant part of our community. Commissioner Tedman?
As I said earlier, over 1,000 people signed a petition to honor Bob in this way, and being fiscally prudent, we gave Bob the very, very magnanimous pleasure of paying for this new sign to be put on the Recreation Center. And the unveiling will be on March 17th. What time?
We'll find out.
It'll be on our website.
All right. Does anyone have any comments? Nope. Yes. Hi. Please state your name for the record.
I'm Cheryl Carroll, Bob's daughter, and I'd like to take this opportunity to express a heartfelt thank you to the entire City of Long Beach Council. On behalf of my sister Jennifer, brother Robbie, and myself, Cheryl Carroll, we want to express our sincere gratitude for all your effort in making this resolution come to fruition. Thank you again for all you have done to make this very special dedication a beautiful reality. Thank you.
Anybody else care to speak on the item? Please come on up. And state your name and address for the record.
Charles Gusler, 71 Barnes. Believe it or not, first time speaking up here, 51 years. I'm not only a resident of Long Beach, but a 25-year City of Long Beach employee. It's the first time in my 50 years that I'm speaking at the City Council meeting. I'm here to speak on behalf of the naming of the Long Beach Recreation Center and Robert L. Carroll, a.k.a. Bob. My first 13 years with the city, I worked for Bob. When I started working for him, I was a little nervous because people told me he was tough. I came to realize that this was far from the truth. It was just that he expected people to be honest, hardworking, and always do their best. Over the years that I worked for Bob, I witnessed him go into his own pocket to help people in need, whether they were hungry or had fallen on hard times. I've seen him bring people to rehabs, shelters when needed. I've witnessed him bring bags of food to people's homes and buy them clothes for those in need. All of these things he did in addition to his running of the Recreation Center, like a well-oiled machine, putting in whatever was needed. I am asking that you all vote yes on this well-deserved naming. Thank you, and have a great evening.
Thank you. Anybody else care to speak? No. Seeing none, next item.
Item 2 is a resolution granting waiver of off-street parking requirements for premise 919 West Beach Street for a bakery, cafe, restaurant. A hearing has been held on this item already. Item 3 is a resolution authorizing the city manager to enter into a contract for the complete reconstruction of the 100 block of West Market Street between Magnolia and National Boulevards with the lowest responsible bidder.
Many years ago, the administration took on the daunting task of evaluating all of our streets, from the infrastructure to the overlay. And we made a priority of streets to be repaired, and this is the street that is next in line for that repair.
Okay. Commissioner, would you care to come up and give us a little brief as to the timeline and the overall project?
Okay, the overall project is the complete reconstruction of West Market Street between Magnolia and Edwards, rather National, I'm sorry. This includes replacing the water main, replacing the sewer main, and also putting in new curbs and sidewalks and an overlay and improving the drainage system. Previously, in years past, there were improvements made to the drainage system at the intersecting roads at Magnolia and Edward and National, and the new drainage system that will be put on Market will be hooked up into those drains, which will help that. Recently, National Grid has finished all their gas main work there. This project will probably start in the next 3 to 4 weeks once awarded.
Okay. And approximately how long will it take?
It's probably about 120 days.
Okay. And we notify everyone on the block, letters in the mailbox?
Prior to construction starting, they will get letters in the mailbox. There are going to be no physical changes, and there will be street lighting improvements. There will be no physical changes to the layout of the road or to the sidewalks or curbs or street cuts. Everything will be as is, except upgraded to meet today's standards.
Right. But the complete reconstruction it's not just a milling and an overlay.
It's going to be a complete reconstruction of the road.
Yeah, so it's a little messy.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyone else from the council? Any comments from the public? Please state your name.
Kevin Riley, Barn Street, speaking on behalf of the Northeast Bay Canal Civic Association. The list of roads that need to be repaired and the order in which they're going to be repaired, we have asked multiple times for that list to be published, and we have yet to see it. Is it a real list? I mean, is it out there that we could actually see?
I believe it is a real list.
We have a lot of problematic roads in the canals.
This is a 2005 report that was compiled by then Commissioner of Public Works, Rob Rabb, and Deputy Commissioner Joe Fabrizio. What they did was they rated the roads based on 6 categories. They rated on the condition of the water mains, condition of the sewer mains, condition of drainage, condition of the curbs and sidewalks, condition of the pavement, and in addition, the amount of volume of traffic that ran on the roads. The city was broken into 10 different areas, and they determined as a priority in each area, any road that rated less, 2.67 or less based on all these parameters, would be put into a priority list. And we've been trying to do these roads in different areas as we get money approved to do it. So there's 55 miles of road in Long Beach, and there is quite a long list of roads that have been done. There's also quite a long list of roads that haven't been done yet. So,
right.
It's
and
gonna
I'm
take some
assuming
time.
there's changes sometimes as
Yes,
conditions
there's changes
change.
in those conditions in the road, depending on a lot of the roads have become over time with some of the house raisings. We've had more road work in terms of cutting up the street for utility extensions and replacements as we have to cut and cap the sewer and then replace it when the home is finalized. So things do change, but the basic ratings of these roads are still the same.
So could we put together a current list and publish it on our website of like kind of a grading system?
I don't believe it's been published on the website, but it's a full report, and then each repair for each road is rated on an A to F list, with A being the most type of construction that's needed.
Right. But could we update the list from 2005, what's been done, what's been milled, and just have a comprehensive
we
new
do. We have
new
actually
updated
have
list?
Matter of fact, I brought it to their civic association and a couple of the other civic associations. We have an entire map of the city that shows the years roads have been repaired and replaced by the year that they were done.
Okay.
So,
okay.
But will the list be made public so we can see it? That's really
I could have the report put on
yeah, if we could do that, that would be great.
And just updated with what's been done already, because that list's a few years old. So. Perfect. Okay. Okay. Anybody else? Okay. Seeing no hands. Next item.
Item 4 is a resolution authorizing the city manager to enter into a contract for the demolition and replacement of 2 bathrooms in City Hall with the lowest responsible bidder.
Yes, unfortunately, this building has seen a lot of neglect over the years, and those are the 2 bathrooms that are used most often because our city court is on that floor, and that generates the most traffic in the building. the most important part of this project is that they will rise to the ADA compliance level.
Okay, we did have a issue with the budgetary amounts not matching up correctly, right? So do you want to speak to that,
Sure.
Councilwoman Diamond?
Sure. So in the actual resolution, for those that are following, it's $114,909. If you add up the amounts contained in the budgetary line, it does not equal that amount. It only equals $114,000. But just just to understand, the remaining $909 we were actually able to secure as part of community block grant funding, since it's an ADA compliant bathroom, so that doesn't come out of a specific account. So it's my understanding that's why there's the discrepancy, but that the project is anticipated to cost the $114,909, but the remaining money will come from this grant funding.
Okay.
Okay.
Anybody else from the council?
Quick question. Do we know an anticipated time frame how long these renovations will take?
And when they will begin?
Hopefully this project will begin by the end of March. We recently met with the contractor, who was the low bidder, and the head of the court service down the second floor, because there's some issues about noise during court time. So the project shall take less than 60 days. There will be one day of noisy demolition, but the contractor's going to build a sound barrier wall around the area while he does the demolition, which should, for that one day, reduce the noise. So we're looking for last week of March to start this.
So we don't anticipate it interfering with a day of court. Is that correct?
No, we've spoken to both the judges and the Bob, who's the director of the court downstairs.
Okay.
So.
Thank
Joe
you.
Fabrizio from that office also stated that they're going to try to do that big demolition on Good Friday, which is a day City Hall is closed.
The city workforce did the bathrooms on the 3rd and 4th floor. Why aren't they doing these?
One of the reasons we're not doing these is we decided to bid this out because when we use the city workforce, other jobs go by the wayside. We don't have a big force, and then what happens is some of the things that we have to do out on the beach, it's mostly beach maintenance, ends up running into a lot of extra overtime. So in the long run, when you look at the cost, it's more economical to have a contractor do it, and plus the time to get the project done is a lot shorter using a contractor. But the amount of overtime that gets run up with them doing the work, not on that particular job, but catching up on all the other work they have to do in terms of beach maintenance and things of that nature, just doesn't make sense.
Exceed the amount of the...
Yes.
Anybody else? Anyone from the public? Okay, one hand, come on up, please. Just state your name, Ms. Blanchett. Well,
Allison Blanchett. Just one bathroom? Why not two? And which bathroom? Are they multi-sex, like single
the
seaters?
The item says 2 new bathrooms. It says with 2 new bathrooms.
One that will be ADA compliant. Why can't they both be? Can we do that? Can we make the magic happen here, people?
I don't know if we have the space for it. I don't know. I don't know the answer to that.
Okay.
question.
Is it?
Maybe the commissioner wants to.
I haven't
speak.
used that. Is it a single seater, like a unisex type of thing?
Two
Okay.
two unisex
They both
bathrooms.
are? Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so less than 60 days. Where are people being directed to use the bathroom? People who have disabilities?
4th floor.
The 4th floor. And I'm asking this question for someone, and I cannot find what they told me to ask, but it was something like the security with the 2nd floor. So people who are going to court stuff, they have to go through the security protocol. So now people are who otherwise would be going through security protocol are not going through it to go to the bathroom. So now there's going to be people who are showing up to court just roaming City Hall. That was a concern of someone who asked me to see, are there going to be any kinds of security measures for the people on the 4th floor?
For the people on the 4th floor, no. The court is the only one that requires security to that level with armed court officers. There is a magnetometer. Every entrance to the second floor is either a key code or an elevator. When you come off the elevator, it's a manned checkpoint, and you have to go through that. So if you leave the court to go to the bathroom, come back, you're going back through the magnetometer and pass the screening.
Okay, so there's no way that someone could enter the building who's going to a court thing, then get put up to the 4th floor, and then they could just wander and, like, I don't know, steal rob or something.
Well, I have an open door policy, so for as long as I'm sitting in this position, they're going to be observed walking down the hallway, and we would take action. We do have a very competent and cooperative and caring workforce.
Okay, and so we will have ADA compliant bathroom on the 2nd floor. We have one on the 4th floor, and we have signs on this floor, right, directing down to the 4th floor. Okay, so we will have 2 bathrooms in the building that are ADA compliant. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioner, if I can just add, it's important to remember that when you come into the building during the day, you are greeted by a special on the 1st floor, and you are asked to sign in at that time and to identify yourself with respect to the question about safety. I think it's important that we just reemphasize that.
Thank you, Councilwoman. I see one more hand. Yep, please come on up. Good evening. Please state your name and address for the record.
Hi, Mindy Duffberg. I was just curious, are these bathrooms going to be having the diaper changing table in them?
I thought all the new ones do. Do you know?
There's some
John?
handicap bathrooms here in the city that do. They will not. Okay, thank you.
Can we get one in one of the bathrooms? Is there room for it?
For
Oh,
them
you would
to be
prefer
in
not?
there.
Oh.
No, that's not the purpose of the handicap accessible bathroom, to have a diaper changing.
Right, but maybe the other one, because there is one and one, right?
They're not really not supposed to be, as far as ADA compliance.
No, the other bathroom, though, I'm talking about.
Yes, okay.
Okay. Right. Okay. Fair enough.
Thank you.
Okay, I didn't know. Thank you for informing me of that. Anybody else? Okay, seeing no more hands, next item.
Item 5 has been taken off the calendar. Item 6 is a resolution authorizing the city manager to execute a mass transportation capital project grant agreement for the term of 5 years with the New York State Department of Transportation.
Okay, this item is very, very good for the city. We are being given, or we will be spending $2,099,000, and the city's share of that entire $2,099,000 is $167,891. The rest is funded by the federal government and the state. The improvements to our entire transportation system go from repairing bus shelters, maintenance equipment, and there's a whole host of projects. This has been going on, or this application is years old, and we're very excited to move forward with it. Ms. Costello, would you like to come up and address this a little further?
So as Mr. Costello comes up, I just remind folks that we're the only community on Long Island that operates our own bus system other than the county and Suffolk County, and we are very proud of that. We do try and service not only our commuters, but also the regular folks that need to use the bus to get around town. And these upgrades to our system, whether they're shelters, signage, or whatever, are long overdue, and we're very excited about it. So, Mr. Costello, if you could just give us a rundown and talk a little bit about the funding as well.
Okay, basically, this funding is just under $1.2 million. The federal share would be approximately $1.3 million. The state share would be $588,000 and change, and our share would be $167,891. The improvements would be improvements to the bus station right outside City Hall, replacement of bus shelters, and the possibility of adding 2 to 4 shelters in various locations.
Excellent.
Fare boxes and a new fare collection system. An AVL system that will give us the ridership and dispatchers real-time bus information, so you can have an app and find out exactly where your bus is going to be and how long it's going to reach you.
Can you just AVL?
It's a automatic vehicle location system.
Thank you.
We have preventive maintenance for bus repairs. We have project administration for the cost of the grant, security cameras at the bus garage, replacement of paratransit buses, replacement of an ADA minivan, bus stop lighting, support vehicles, and that's about it. Some of the funding is also 100% state funded as well.
Excellent. And when will we start to see some of these things happening?
We're going to start the procurement process in April.
In April.
And that everything should be completed within 16 months or so.
16 months. Fantastic. Okay. Anyone from the council?
Could we just identify Mr. Costello's role with the city for those people who may not be familiar with him and what he does?
Sure.
Brendan Costello, Director of Transportation.
Okay.
Thank you.
Our Director of Transportation.
First of all, Mr. Costello, I want to thank you for your hard work on obtaining this grant money and actually explaining it to all of us so well. Some of these projects are really very impressive. If you can just explain a little bit the importance of the replacement vehicle and the minivan and why it's so important.
Basically, it's our paratransit service. So we're ADA compliant. Certain riders who aren't capable of physically riding our fixed route bus, we provide a paratransit service, which is handicap ramp, ADA compliant. We go a door-to-door service to help out those individuals get to the places that they need to be.
Excellent. Anybody else from the council? Anyone from the public? Ms. Blanchett?
Just along those lines while she's coming up, those paratransit rides are done by appointment. So if anyone does have an issue and does have a need, just call transportation. You can set up an appointment to have that service.
Excellent. Just sit tight, Mr. Costello. We're going to need you, I'm sure.
I can't tell you how. Allison Blanchett.
This is great,
how
right?
How exciting it was to have someone who's actually the head of transportation stand up here. That's pretty tremendous. First time it's ever happened. Mike, all right. So this is just typical funding that we receive that our municipal bus system's been running on. Oh, and by the way, we are not the only one on Long Island. Huntington, the HART system.
Oh, Huntington has a small bus system.
It's a really great system, actually.
Yes.
Not as great as ours, though, of course. So
They're very tiny.
it's very tiny.
Yes.
Size doesn't matter. Yes, it does. So anyways, so April procurement. My question is this. This is relating back to the February 6th, I think it was, council meeting where yes, February 6th, where, and this is related, you voted to pay urban engineers $65,394 to oversee the procurement of many things. I spoke about fare boxes, shelters, all of that lovely stuff that we were actually promised years ago. I don't know what happened to that, but now we're getting.
This is it. This is
okay,
us
so
getting
this
it.
is it. It took a long time because we
did.
finally got someone who knows what they're doing. So my question is, who is overseeing the procurement of these items? Well, we have a head of transportation who is handsomely paid, and handsome, I must say, in addition to having urban engineers who are being paid to procure these things. And I'm curious if Brendan is now registered with the USDOT grants.gov, because you've got Michael Robinson in there listed as, well, head of community development, which he's not, but he's listed in there, and he's the one who has been applying for these grants over the years, and he's the one who has been, according to the USDOT, who I called and double-checked on this, has been responsible, held accountable for putting these numbers in. So I'm wondering who is going to be accountable for this, who's going to be responsible for keeping up with the maintenance, whether it's the monthly National Transit Database to put in, our raw data. Is it going to be Brandon?
It's going to be the consultant.
Why not him? He just answered all
because
these questions.
I understand that. Overseen by him, yeah.
I'm sorry?
But the consultant oversees
This
it.
is
Yeah.
the reason, Brendan, you can explain it
Yeah.
better than I can, but this.
Why isn't he doing this?
Well, he's going to explain it right now.
Okay.
He can
And
explain
then,
the role of the consultant.
well,
And the
okay.
consultant is paid for by the grant, right?
Vis-a-vis these grants, Brendan's in the best position.
Okay. So, and then my second part of this is, how is this getting an 80-20 And the previous one, which was tied to the 5339, which you cannot use, for consultants, or you said studies, it's not studies. How is the one from February 6th 100% funded by FTA when FTA does not do 100 for this? They will do 80-20, they will do 90-10. So I'm just curious how this is different from that.
I'm not sure, but this isn't 80-20. This is way more than 80-20. This is like 90.
And I'm fine.
Where? With the
well,
state.
yeah, I know. It's
Yeah.
80% federal. The 20% is broken down to 10
Right.
local buy-in, 10 state. I know that. But I'm just wondering how this difference. Yeah, and so I'm just reiterating how this is different.
Right.
If you want to answer that right now, if you want to answer about who's doing the monthly database, I had a whole slew of questions. You have
Mr.
been
Costello,
doing-
can you come to the microphone?
You can either talk here or I can talk to you over here to the side. Because I have a whole, I do, because I have a lot more questions.
Yeah, if you could just give a brief answer here, and then if you want to speak offline with Ms. Blanchette, that's fine too.
Basically, the role of urban engineering is to help with the various projects procurements. FTA requires different requirements than our local procurement process, so they will help make the procurement process go a lot faster than which way we would be able to do on our own.
Okay. Any other questions?
Oh, it's an area involved.
Mr. Costello,
Yes.
can I just interrupt? I just think the consultants that we passed the resolution for last time, those are fully funded. Is that correct?
Yes.
Thank you.
And a requirement.
Excuse me?
And a requirement. My understanding was we were required to have them to procure the items.
We're not required, but they definitely will help, and it makes us, they'll make our time to procure those projects a lot faster than we would on our own.
Okay.
And it's encouraged by the
Yes,
federal
just to
government,
make
correct?
sure
That
everything
we
is
have
up to
those.
date, we
Mhm.
have all the requirements, and everything's perfect.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Anyone else from the audience? Sir, I see your hand. Do you want to come on up? Mr. Costello, just hold on one second. We maybe another question here. Oh, okay. Please just state your name and address for the record.
David Glass, 94 Maryland Avenue. I travel around, and we have a bus system, and it brings people back and forth in town. And I think that I live in the West End now, and I raised my house, and it seems like every 2 houses that were raised, we lost a spot. So as far as the merchants are concerned, the people in the neighborhood that are trying to make business, it's tough for them now. And if you live in town, I've been here since the 80s, and you drive up on a Saturday and you see the people coming off the train, and you ask half those people on the train, is there a West End, is there an East End? They don't know. They just go down to the boardwalk and that's it, and it's all packed over there. So what I would suggest they do in Ocean City, Maryland, and other places, is that you could do it through the Chamber of Commerce. You could have a map of Long Beach with the East End and the West End. The people, when they got off the train, could be given this map. Anyone that bought the triptych for the day, they could be given this map. And then we could use our bus service to move the people back and forth, fill up some of the West End beaches, give some of the West End places some business during the day instead of only at night at 3, 4 in the morning. And it would be good for the town. It would be good for commerce. We'd get some people moving around, and the parking wouldn't be such a problem.
We've been trying to encourage folks to use our bus, and the last couple of years we've had, I don't know if you've seen the open-air trolleys.
That's not my point.
Right.
The point is that the people, because you're not listening.
I'm listening.
The people that get off the train don't know the way the town works.
Right.
They don't know where to go.
So we did set up at the train station, I don't know if you've ever seen them on the weekends, we do set up a couple of people under a tent that says Long Beach information. And with the purchase of a Beast Pass, they do get free trolley rides for the day to do exactly.
But if they had a map and
right.
they knew that they could go down and get barbecue here and if it just you could probably get the merchants to kick in because they'll have their name on it.
Right.
And it would give the people a reference, and they'd want to go to the West End.
I think we agree with you, and we've been
So
trying
how
to
I
do
get it
exactly
done?
what that.
I'm retired. You tell me what to do and where to go, and I'll get it done.
Okay.
I was in management. I'm not in management anymore. I manage myself barely. So I'm serious.
I understand.
So instead of just where it's going to be claptrap and nothing can happen, tell me how to get it. Tell me what to do, where to go, and I'll get it done.
Okay. I don't know if you want to talk to Ryan McTiernan. Ryan, can you just wave your hand? Because he's the one that was handling basically what you're talking about.
Okay.
I don't know if he has a map on him that he could show you what we were handing out. Okay. Oh, they are? Okay. Okay. Anyone else have any comments on the bus funding? Okay, seeing no more hands, next item.
Item 7 is a resolution authorizing the filing of an application with the County of Nassau for the purpose of undertaking a community development program under Title I of the Housing and Community Development Act of 1974 as amended, and Title II of the National Affordable Housing Act of 1990 as amended, for inclusion in the city's community development program for the 2018-19 44th year. This item is for publication only. A hearing will be held March 20th at 7 p.m. Item 8 is a resolution authorizing the city manager to purchase various groceries for the city's daycare programs and the Ice Arena snack bar from the lowest responsible bidders.
Okay, we provide a recreation center with a full snack bar as well as our summer camps, and this is what we use to feed the children. There's just one minor change in the budget code. If you will change.
We got to make it.
Yeah,
We'll take care of it.
do you want to do the amendment now? Or
That's it.
now?
You can make that.
Okay, there was a slight error in the resolution, so we just have a slight amendment.
Okay, so in the resolution, this third to last line, essentially, it says funds are available in account number. It currently reads A7320 .54437, when it should say, and we're going to amend, I'm proposing to amend the item to say A7310-54437.
I second it.
Voting on the motion, Councilmember Bendo.
Yes.
Councilmember Mandel.
Yes.
Councilmember Moore.
Yes.
Vice President Diamond.
Yes.
President Aramo.
Yes. Okay, now that it's amended properly, does anyone from the council have any questions or comments? Anyone from the public have any questions or comments? Snack food items? Seeing none. Next item.
And our last item is a resolution authorizing publication of a notice of public hearing of an application to waive off-street parking requirements for premise 248 West Park Avenue for a real estate office. This item is for publication only. A hearing will be held March 20th at 7 p.m. And we'll go right into the voting. So item 1 is a resolution naming the city's recreation center. Who would choose to move the adoption of this item?
I will.
Who do we got? Okay, who's second?
Whoever didn't. Who?
I'll second it.
Okay.
You got it. Okay.
All right.
Hold on one second. Okay. Voting, Councilmember Bendo.
Congratulations, Mr. Carroll, and thank you for your service to Long Beach. I vote yes.
Councilmember Mandel.
Just want to briefly say, I'm thrilled that this item is on the agenda. It's long overdue. This is a man who's devoted his entire life to Long Beach, and he's molded countless generations of people in our city. If you notice, when he got up here to speak, he did not use the word I when he referred to all the things that have happened at that rec center under his watch. He used the word we. 47 years, and people may not realize he continues to devote his time and volunteer his energy to Long Beach. This is a man who has served as the president of the Long Beach Lions Association, an organization that does free eye testing for our Long Beach children and trains guide dogs. I am thrilled that this is on our agenda, and I'm thrilled that generations to come will look up at that name on the rec center and say, that's Bob Carroll, that's somebody who I want to be like. I vote yes.
Councilmember Moore.
Once again, congratulations, Mr. Carroll. Thank you for, first of all, your love for this city. From the first time that I met you, That was one of the major things that you communicated to me, and I thank you for that. I also thank you for your commitment and your service, and I thank you for leaving us a legacy right here in the city of Long Beach, and I vote yes.
Vice President Diamond.
Sure. Mr. Carroll, I want to congratulate you and your family. This is a wonderful occasion, and I'm honored to be a part of it. Thank you again for your service and commitment to the city of Long Beach, and I'm proud to vote yes.
President Aramo.
Mr. Carroll, it's been an honor to know you since I've moved to the city, and your legacy truly is the countless amount of children's lives you've changed while being over at the rec center. I look forward to the day when we hang up that sign or plant the sign, however we're going to do it. But thank you for all your service. I proudly vote yes.
Item 2 is a resolution granting waiver of off-street parking requirements for premise 919 West Beach Street for Bakery Cafe Restaurant. Introduce and move the adoption of this item.
I will.
Second.
I will.
Voting, Councilmember Bendo.
Yes.
Councilmember Mandel.
Yes.
Councilmember Moore.
Yes.
Vice President Diamond.
Yes.
President Aramo.
Yes, and good luck again.
Item 3 is a resolution authorizing the city manager to enter into a contract for the complete reconstruction of the 100 block of West Market Street between Magnolia and National Boulevards with the lowest responsible bidder. Introduce and move the adoption of this item.
I will.
Second.
I will.
Voting, Councilmember Bendo.
Yes.
Councilmember Mandel.
Yes.
Councilmember Moore.
Yes.
Vice President Diamond.
Yes.
President Aramo.
Yes.
Item 4 is a resolution authorizing the city manager to enter into a contract for the demolition and replacement of 2 bathrooms in City Hall with the lowest responsible bidder. Who will introduce and move the adoption of this item?
I will.
Second.
I will.
Voting, Councilmember Bendo.
Yes.
Councilmember Mandel.
Yes.
Councilmember Moore.
Yes.
Vice President Diamond.
Yes.
President Aramo.
Yes.
Item 6 is a resolution authorizing the city manager to execute a mass transportation capital project grant agreement for the term of 5 years with the New York State Department of Transportation. Introduce and move the adoption of this item.
I will.
Second.
I will.
Voting, Councilmember Bendo.
Yes.
Councilmember Mandel.
Yes.
Councilmember Moore.
Yes.
Vice President Diamond.
Yes.
President Aramo.
Yes.
Item 7 is a resolution authorizing the filing of an application with the County of Nassau for the purpose of undertaking a community development program under Title I of the Housing and Community Development Act of 1974 as amended and Title II of the National Affordable Housing Act of 1990 as amended for inclusion in the city's community development program for the 2018-19 44th year. Who will introduce and move the adoption of this item?
I will.
Second.
I will.
Voting, Councilmember Bendo.
Yes.
Councilmember Mandel.
Yes.
Councilmember Moore.
Yes.
Vice President Diamond.
Yes.
President Aramo.
Yes.
Item 8 is a resolution authorizing the city manager to purchase various groceries for the city's daycare programs and the Ice Arena snack bar from the lowest responsible bidders. Who will introduce and move the adoption of this item as amended?
I will.
Second.
I will.
Voting, Councilmember Bendo.
Yes.
Councilmember Mandel.
Yes.
Councilmember Moore.
Yes.
Vice President Diamond.
Yes.
President Aramo.
Yes.
And finally, item 9 is a resolution authorizing publication of a notice of public hearing of an application to waive off-street parking requirements for premise 248 West Park Avenue, street floor, for a real estate office. Introduce and move the adoption of this item.
I will.
Second.
I will.
Excuse me. Voting. Councilmember Bendo.
Yes.
Councilmember Mandel.
Yes.
Councilmember Moore.
Yes.
Vice President Diamond.
Yes.
President Aramo.
Yes.
City manager's monthly personnel report has been filed by the city clerk. Who will make a motion to close the meeting?
I will.
Oh.
Second.
I'll second.
Okay. Voting. Councilmember Bendo.
Yes.
Councilmember Mandel.
Yes.
Councilmember Moore.
Yes.
Vice President Diamond.
Yes.
President Aramo.
Yes. Okay, we now enter our good and welfare portion of the meeting. As we all know, we get 3 minutes of uninterrupted time. And as former President Torres always would remind us, please show respect and maintain decorum.
President Aramo, if I could just make a point of
Please.
a comment. I just want to wish you a very happy birthday. President Aramo is celebrating his birthday this Friday.
Happy birthday.
He's
It's
turning
early.
21.
Thank you. Okay. What's that say? Alex?
Save the trouble. Last name is Mogilnicki.
Say it again, sir.
My name is Alex Mogilnicki. I live at 76 Heron Street in the Canals.
Thank you. Welcome.
Thank you. Welcome. So, hi. How are you? I'm here to ask the council and the acting city manager on the implementation plan for bulkhead remediation in the canals.
Can you speak in the mic?
I want to know about the implementation plan for bulkhead remediation in the canals.
Okay.
I congratulate you for the work you've done collectively and with other colleagues to get resources, and that's a great thing. But we're sitting on a 50-year-old bulkhead that's deteriorating. So when are we going to do something? And what can we do to accelerate the implementation of that? We're 90 days away from the 2018 hurricane season, which begins on June 1, and they're looking at a 30% increase, at least in the early forecast, for the intensity of storms expected to come up the coast.
Right.
So myself on Heron Street and others in the Canal District feel like we're sitting on a bit of a time bomb. And what we'd like to see and know is, what are we going to do? When are we going to do it? And in point of fact, some of us are going to have to do some things as well to expedite that, to move things or to adjust things. So for me, congratulations on the work you've done to get the resources. And now where are we on implementation, and what can we do to accelerate that? Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner, would you like to speak on this? So we did have, what was it, GOSER, right? Is that? So unfortunately, GOSER was going to pay for bulkheading the whole North Shore, but then their engineer came back with a number that was much lower, much higher than what the funding they granted us. So it's sort of an amended plan at this point. But if you could just speak.
Yeah, it took a while to get the amended plan approved by the governor's office by storm recovery. We had to go through a whole process with the CRP committee and then bring it back to GOSER. And then they did a cost reasonable study on the additional work that it was going to take by the engineering firm Tetra Tech that's actually designing the bulkhead. That has finally been approved. It was approved a couple of weeks ago. Tetra Tech should be moving ahead very quickly on the design of this bulkhead. We would hope to be able to get this project going in September of 2018 to actually get construction underway. And that bulkheading will include all the West End streets, all the dead ends on the canal at the West End. It will include all along East Bay, and it will include two of the canals on Heron and I don't want to mix the canals up, but the first two canals going from west to east. And the city's budgeted money in its upcoming 5-year capital plan for the third canal.
And that's all the public bulkheading of the canals?
All public bulkheading. Additionally, we've just gotten approval from GOSER to proceed with a $4.4 million drainage project. We have engineering proposals that we're reviewing right now. Those we'll be recommending at the March 20th meeting. Those projects will be major drainage projects that will cover the West End on West Park from Nevada to New York. We'll cover National Boulevard. We'll cover East Bay Drive, and we'll cover J.J. Evans on Park Place between J.J. Evans Boulevard and Riverside. And those are four of the major other flooding areas that we have. Once the bulkheads are done in the canals, we will be able to reconstruct those canal streets. Right now it wouldn't make any sense, but once the bulkhead is up to the base flood elevation, we can come in and do a complete road works on those projects on the canals, which will help. Additionally, what we found is the tide flex valves are somewhat problemsome in terms of clogging and not, closing when they're supposed to, being open when they, not supposed to be open. It's very easy to disrupt them. So in this new contract we have going out that's being prepared now, it's actually going out to bid and we'll be back March 29th. A bulkheading contract that we do on an annual basis also includes a section on tide valve maintenance. So this should hopefully prove with that. But in addition, some of the engineering proposals we looked at for the drainage projects have some other recommendations instead of tide flex valves that we think may be more promising. So as we appoint this engineer and we start looking at some of those things, we'll hopefully come up with a better system.
Okay. Since you brought up the Tide Flex valves, I know we had some issues in the canals the last couple of days. We've spoke about it. I know you spoke to a lot of the council about it. Can you just discuss, they're going to take a look at them and make sure none of them are clogged in the next few days?
We'll get, our sewer maintenance group actually does the maintenance on the drainage system also. Some of the Tide Flex valves are located on what we call the outside of the bulkhead, so you have to get to them by boat to maintain them. Some of the valves are in chambers, and therefore you have to clean the chambers out, get the tide down, and be able to get into the chamber to clean the Tide Flex valves. So they are going to work on that. I spoke to the foreman today, and he's going to start with the one on Heron Street actually before this week is done.
Okay. And I think it's pretty exciting, I think, for everyone probably to maybe do a pilot and try some other devices.
Yep.
I know there's a lot out there, but as you've explained to us, the salt water just destroys everything.
Everything. Over the years, when I worked in the village of Freeport, we had automatic sluice gates that adjusted based on how much water was in the drainage line and how much water was up on the bulkhead, and it became problematic. We went to simple flap valves within a couple of years with the salt water hitting them. These were cast iron valves. They just corroded away and, didn't function anymore. They would get stuck in a down position or stuck in an open position. We're even thinking about the possibility of putting in neoprene gate valves that we manually go out and shut during high tides. One of the things that been proposed on the west end, right now we have a lot of outfalls into the canal, is to reduce the number of outfalls and improve the drainage system itself to 1 or 2 outfalls, so we only have to control it at 2 spots. And that, along with the replacement of those bulkheads, should go a long way to prevent some of those floods that we've seen in these very high tides on West Park.
Okay.
So.
Okay. Sir, I would ask you to just talk to the commissioner offline if you have any specific questions. He'll be here.
Thank you, I do.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Mr. Tim Kelly. I think we might have covered some of your. Please. Thank you. Please state your name.
Tim Kelly, the canals. I just want to give a couple of pictures. This is regarding the Tide Flex valves, and this is Harmon Street during the latest storm.
Yeah, we did receive some emails from the canals.
Okay, where the water is obviously coming up through the storm drains. The Tide Flex valves are not working as they're supposed to. Also, along the park, I believe part of the problem is during the routine maintenance of mowing the lawns there and everything during the spring and everything, a lot of the debris is left behind when the crew leaves, and it ends up washing down into the drains.
Okay.
So I think if we can address that, it might alleviate some of the clogging of that. I'm not sure exactly. I'm no expert on these Tide Flex valves or sewer systems, but that seems like it could be part of the problem that is blocking up the system.
Okay.
Okay?
Thank you for
Thank
that.
you.
Thank you, Mr. Kelly. Ms. Mary Volasevich.
Mary Volasevich. I'm going to read this because I'm representing the Northeast Bay Canal Civic Association. We have been here several times before Sandy and since Sandy. We have said many times the Tide Flex valves are not working. The water is not coming over the bulkheads, but from the storm drains. Kevin Riley and I must have gotten 60 emails of pictures, and every one of them showed it was coming through the storm drains. We also brought to your attention that they need to be maintained. You can clear them out from the street level, but they need to be cleaned from the outside. There are plastic bottles you can see at low tide stuck in them. There is other debris also. I believe Scott Bachner explained this at one of the council meetings. There's probably debris and other other bottles and cans stuck in these, and they're not closing properly. Many people on the butt ends of the canals or the north side of East Pine are constantly threatened by this water. Some have not raised their homes, and others who have are in constant fear of losing cars again and property. We are asking once again to get these cleaned and the Tide Flex valves working properly. Let's get this done. Affected areas, Curly, Harmon, Armour, Barnes, Kerrigan, Heron needs bulkhead and storm drain. Doyle, the same thing. Boyd, flooding, and it's not going anywhere. East Bay Drive, East State Street in Franklin. If any of you saw those pictures, that's disgraceful. It's like a third world country. And we've been complaining about this before Sandy, before. And the answer is, oh, we're going to clean them, we're going to get this, we're going to get that. We're talking how many years now? How many years? How many people have to rush out, older people, and move their cars, all right? We go over and we help some of them move them and get them the next day. This is not a way to live. You're all worried about the ocean. You've got a bay here that's doing a hell of a lot of damage, and we have come here time and time again, Kevin and I, standing here like two fools, and we go back and tell them, we address it, we address it, we address it, and nothing is being done. That man is right. Heron, you could take a surfboard down, a surfboard, even Armour. It's coming up from the store drains. Do not tell me it's coming over the bulkheads, because I have gone through this since the perfect storm. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Volasevich.
President
And
Rahm,
it doesn't fall on deaf ears. We do have the commissioners' crews going out to make sure they are cleared. They are going to do that. We do know we have a flooding problem. Everyone in the city deals with it in their own, all different areas of the city flood. And I think it's exciting that the commissioner talked about maybe looking at a different device that may work better for us, because the Tide Flex valves with the high tides just doesn't seem to cut it. Short of putting in a pump to be able to pump through the high tide, I think the closing them off might work. So maybe we'll look to try different things. But it's not on deaf ears, Ms. Volasevich, and I think everyone in the administration wants to see this flooding come to an end, if we can so do that financially.
I just wanted to just make a comment because I've had the opportunity to serve since 2016, and I have to say that, Mary and Kevin, I've watched you come up here countless times, and you made an appeal with respect to the Tide Flex valves. And at that time, and this has nothing to do with Mr. Mirando's tenure, this was before his tenure, there were several times where the information was questioned. We were told that these valves are effective. And so I think today what we're hearing is we have to listen to residents. It's so important that we listen, that the feedback that's given here when people stand here at meetings countless times over and over again is so important for us to listen and not always question, because they're going through the experience. And once again, I've received countless photographs from my neighbors on the other side on East State Street near Franklin. I've also received messages. I've had the opportunity, I painfully watched the flooding that was taking place on Harmon as well as on Heron Street, and there are other streets that have not been mentioned here. But I think it's high time that we, all of us, just really make a commitment to making change and to really listening so that we can move forward. I'm pleased that Mr. Mirando is doing that. But unfortunately, we're here today in 2018, and people are suffering as a result of our failure to listen to our residents. And so I hope that today, moving forward, we can move forward by really listening to the input that the residents are giving. That's the purpose of a council meeting, is to listen to the constituents, and that we move forward together so that we can really make sure that our city is safer but also stronger. Thank you.
Okay.
If I could, Commissioner Mirando, just a question. On the Tide Flex valves, is there a formal preventative maintenance program for them, or is it mostly corrective maintenance?
It's really at this time corrective maintenance. I mean, you can clean them out. Somebody throws a bottle in the drain, and then, the next storm, it's in the Tide Flex valve. It's one of the reasons we're putting in a piece in a contract to have them done by a contractor over a regular period.
So if I could, let me ask a follow-up, because I'm going from memory, but your predecessor, I believe the way the storm drain cleaning program was set up, that a storm drain was only cleaned once every 5 years because of the amount of equipment that the city has to do that.
Well, we clean all the basins every year. It's part of our stormwater management program that we're required to respond to the state every year. And every year in June we put out the stormwater management plan and all the work that's been done. So, you know, in addition to cleaning basins, we also, our sewer maintenance group flushes out the drain lines for sand, things of that nature. We may not get to the entire drainage system, you know, in terms of flushing, but we do get to every basin and clean out every basin every year. So
it's annual.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is that with the Vector truck?
That's with the Vector truck, yes. But we also have a jet flusher. You know, it has a hose that goes in under pressure, and you pull it back and try to clean out all the sand and things of that nature. You know, one of the things that can be done is to build chambers prior to the outfalls, and in those chambers actually separate solids, separate bottles, cans. They're set up in a kind of an interesting way, but they're rather huge. You know, they're probably 8 feet deep, 6 foot wide, and maybe 12 feet long. And as the water goes through, it drops out sand and sediment. The next chamber takes out bottles and cans, and you can even add, you know, these porous materials to absorb any kind of oils or things like that that are in the water. Very expensive, but these are some of the things we'll be looking at in the drainage when we do the 4 major drainage projects. Okay. And, you know, something else I failed to mention the last time about a major improvement is going to be the critical infrastructure bulkhead, which is a $20 million project. That bulkhead is going to have a 30 million gallon a day pump station to take water and put it back into the canal. So there are a lot of big projects. It unfortunately takes a lot of time to get all these things done.
Right.
So,
okay. In the interim, since this is a recurring problem, would it be possible to institute a preventative maintenance and inspection program on these?
Well, that's what we're doing in the contract with our bulkhead contractor. We're going to have him do that.
So it would be included as
Yeah,
part of that?
and these are people that deal with these all the time. So, but again, it's not foolproof. As soon as you clean them, a bottle or a can gets in, and that's why we want to look at some different types of valves.
Right. So. Okay. Thank you. Mr. Kevin Riley. Just state your name and address for the record.
Kevin Riley, Barn Street, Long Beach. You may know that I'm not a fan of the comprehensive plan at this point. And at the last meeting, I had asked Patty Bourne to tell me the law, provide for me the law that says we must do a comprehensive plan prior to doing the zoning. And she was kind enough to send the zoning and comprehensive plan technical series, which is a nice little booklet here. And if I'm not mistaken, the zoning and the comprehensive plan is being undertaken under what's called the New York State Zoning Enabling Statute. Is that right? Pat? Okay. Let's assume for a second that it is.
Okay.
In almost every dealing that I've had during the comprehensive plan, I was told not to worry about the comprehensive plan because it is a broad, it's a broad idea, a bunch of ideas that we're going to take and hopefully implement, and that as we move forward, during the zoning process of that, we're going to be bringing out, or the city is going to be bringing out, the zoning to individual areas to have them go over it and deal with things they like and they do not like. Is that correct? Again? You don't remember that? Yeah. Was something similar said at the West End meeting? Yeah, okay. So the thing that concerns me is that if this council moves to adopt the current comprehensive plan as it stands today, with overlay zoning for the Bay and for the Central Business District, as well as some additional heights in the West End, the same statutes make very, very clear that, and I'm going to read it because it really needs to be in the record here. Once a comprehensive plan is adopted using the state zoning enabling statute, all land use regulations of the community must be consistent with the comprehensive plan. In the future, the plan must be consulted prior to the adoption or amendment of any land use. In addition, In addition, other governmental agencies that are considering capital projects on lands covered by the adopted comprehensive plan must take that into account. This says 3 times in this document that I was provided that if it's in the comprehensive plan, it must appear in the zoning. That is substantially different than what we have been told, is that don't worry about the comprehensive plan, it's just a bunch of ideas. No, it's not a bunch of ideas. If this body adopts the comprehensive plan, we must write the zoning to match it. And that is very, very disheartening, and I am extremely concerned about this.
Okay.
All right?
First, I just want to thank you for speaking last week and speaking tonight, and also your letter in the Herald, because this isn't supposed to be our plan. It's supposed to be all of our plans. It's supposed to be Long Beach's plan. We're just the ones that implement it up here. And we want everyone to have buy-in and be involved with the process. That's how it's supposed to be. I know sometimes folks don't necessarily want to believe that, but I'm sincere that this is not any one of us up here. This is not our plan. It's for all of us.
I don't assume that nobody here wants to see additional buildings, tall buildings, taller than this one, along the bay.
Right. Right. There's some areas where there could be development, and that's what this process is for. But what you bring out, I think, is I was under the same impression, and I think a lot of folks are under the same impression, as that the comprehensive plan was, in fact, an idea. And then when we get to the zoning and planning phase is when we really, the nuts and bolts of the process. So I myself would like to really see exactly what it is that you have there. And I don't know if anyone else from the council has any other comments. But
the zoning, the very last page, just for one last item, the very last page of the comprehensive plan says, please note that either the comprehensive plan or the zoning code can be updated by the city at any time in the future. It goes on to say many municipalities do this on a regular basis. So that would mean that the comprehensive plan would need to be readopted prior to any other zoning. So, I mean, even in the last words in the thing said, don't worry, we're going to do it.
So I'm going to give this back to you, but I'm going to ask Patty if you could send this to everyone on the council and just make sure we have that document. I'm not sure I've seen that before. But we want to do this process, Kevin, seriously, you know, for moving forward. Our zoning code is outdated.
Absolutely.
And
100%. This is a good idea.
And to take the weight off the zoning board for granting variances, because once we adopt and change and update, then the parameters are set clear what we as a community want to see on this property or that property or don't want to see.
100% agree.
Okay.
And if you get the buy-in of this city,
which is what we want.
You won't have any problem implementing.
Which is what we want.
Long Beach is a special place. They
Yeah.
really are.
Yeah, no, and we all want to protect it, but we all want to see it, you know, flourish as well. Thank you, Mr. Riley. Ms. Blanchette. Please state your name for the record.
Allison Blanchette. Quite a few different things. I missed the beginning part of the city council meeting where I think you gave a thing for the firemen. I'm assuming it had to do with the crash that happened or something. Okay. I lectured Scott Kemmons. Scott, pay attention. I lectured him in the hallway about this. In the Herald, he said, accident. Please stop saying the word accident. It's a crash, it's a collision, it's an incident, it's anything but an accident. That someone flips their car, that someone is distracted driving, is speeding, is drunk, is anything. It's never an accident, and your words actually matter. You talk to our state DOT, you talk to the federal DOT, they will tell you these are not accidents. They've completely erased that word. It's very Vision Zero-y. Okay, so there's that. And then, you know, I think I'm going to skip what else I was talking about because someone sent me something during the meeting, and when I stood up earlier about the bakery thing, it kind of threw me off because I didn't know that there was another alcohol-like place being put into the West End, and it threw me off because it's not on here. So someone, I'm kind of just going to spend my time on this. Wrote, and I know you already voted on this. Just bear with me. When did she notify the city of her intent to apply for, an alcohol license? That's the question. If she did, then why wasn't it included in the notice in this? Because by law, the city clerk has to be notified of intent to apply 30 days before the application is submitted. So I'm just curious, and this is nothing against the business owner, or any of that. I'm just curious about the process of if someone is applying for, there's no alcohol license already with this location. It was a hardware store before. So if someone is applying for like a beer and wine license thing and they have to come back here to get another parking waiver, and you know that she's back here again, and she said because, it's alcohol thing, well, why wasn't, that should be in here. Because there are people in this community who take that very seriously. Like really, really, like this is their business to take this seriously, to on behalf of our community and the kids and stuff. Judy Vining should have been here. So she didn't get that opportunity because it wasn't in here. And I think, and I'm just speaking on behalf of, I'm an advocate, that's my profession. So another advocate was denied the right to come up and speak on behalf of her cause, and I think that's really upsetting. So what is the process? I mean, shouldn't that have been put in here? And Mr. Guy person? Dave, right? So were you notified that someone's applying? Is that the process?
You're talking about the SLA portion.
Yeah.
So Dave you get those applications.
Did you know? Did you know?
She hasn't applied for any license.
But that's not what this is.
But right, I think you're conflating
Right.
two different things, Al.
No, I'm not, because she had to come back to apply for a parking waiver a second time because the nature of the business changed. Isn't that what she said?
Right, because it wasn't consistent with the first application we received. We actually insisted that she come back a second time for exactly the concerns that you're articulating right now.
Right. So, okay, so you requested that she comes back. So shouldn't that be in here?
In what?
The parking waiver thing, that it's not just a bakery, but it's an alcohol?
It is in her second application. We made her fill out another application, which we got on February 13th, to answer your question.
In here? Like there are people in this community who would have loved to have come here and to speak out and to ask maybe that you do support it, maybe that you don't, and I just don't think that's really fair. Do you guys understand what I'm saying, right? Like it just would have been nice if people who are reading this agenda beforehand were able to see, oh, this person's back here because now there's alcohol in the mix, and they're looking for a parking waiver.
In other words, you're asking
Fair
for
enough?
a clarification with respect to the application itself, that information would be a part of the agenda item.
Right. Like if someone's opening a bar and looking for a parking waiver, you would want to know that there's alcohol served there. Well, this person's maybe not be a bar, but it's the same thing. You're serving alcohol, which, no one should be driving and looking for parking, but.
Right, I understand.
Okay, you understand that? So I
Yeah.
don't know if that's true.
I don't think it legally has to be in there, I guess, but I think we understand the point. Yeah.
It's just in a spirit of transparency.
Yes.
Right.
Okay.
I would think that any other place serving alcohol, you'd want to put it on the agenda, that they're also seeking, just fairness,
But just so the public is aware, it is on the application, which
which we don't see. We look at this. Okay. So it is on, so you knew about this. Okay.
That's why we put it on.
So it really should have been on here, guys.
Okay.
I don't think that's really fair.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. I would be remiss if I didn't just acknowledge one person really quickly. Last week, Commissioner Tagney, sitting next to me here, celebrated, actually we all celebrated, 40 years working for the city and protecting our city in the police department. From patrolman to acting city manager and a wonderful police commissioner that really grabbed the bull by the horns after Sandy and really led this city with the council and with our city manager at the time to pull us through that really difficult time. So on behalf of the city and the city council, Mr. Tagney, we thank you for your 40 years, and we look forward to 40 more. And that's it for this evening, so thank you very much. Let's just hear it from Mr. Tagney.
Thank you.
red,